In the hour before sunrise, when the megacity's holographic billboards dimmed and the rain-polished streets glowed like circuitry, Rin Takahashi lived for the scream of turbines and the electric taste of danger. She was 22, too restless to sleep, and famed on the illegal drag strips that threaded through Shibuya's elevated transports. Her bike, a graphite Onize 9, could outrun patrol drones and split the air into ultraviolet ribbons. Yet every dawn for the past month, as she drifted the last corner beneath the ski rail, she had almost crashed into the same pedestrian. A tall, slender man in grease-stained overalls, clutching a canvas satchel and an air of startled apology. They never shared more than startled looks. Rin would swerve, the man would jump back, and her helmet visor would register his wide, dark eyes before she shot away, heart hammering louder than her engine. She told herself he was a glitch in her perfect route, a variable to be avoided. But the third time it happened, she felt something shift. Fate, magnetism, whatever gamblers felt when the wheel kept landing on red. That morning, rain pooled in the broken asphalt, and she heard the pedestrian mutter, "Not again," as if he too remembered previous near misses. She wanted to stop, ask his name, but street racers didn't break for curiosity. Later that night, still restless, she ducked into the Nakano salvage arcades, searching for replacement ion cells. Beneath cracked display cases of obsolete tech, her gaze snagged on a brass shape incongruous among polymer scraps. A pocket watch, its cover etched with swirling chrysanthemums. The proprietor, an augmented octogenarian whose mechanical jaw clicked as he spoke, shrugged. Found in an undercity dredge. Doesn't tick, he said. Something about its weight, its refusal to vanish under neon glare, hooked at Rin's chest. She bought it on impulse, sliding it into her jacket before roaring back into the chrome rain. The watch stayed silent until she reached her warehouse loft and, on a whim, wound it. A click. The air rippled. The ambient music glitching from her speakers reversed. The city lights outside brightened, then dimmed, and her coffee mug leapt from the counter to her hand, steam unspooling backward into liquid. 5 minutes, precisely. Rewound. Rin stared, adrenaline spiking, and repeated the experiment twice more, confirming the radius of the effect. Only she remembered the undone interval. The implications were obvious. Races recalibrated, cops sidestepped, fortune remixed. Yet her first thought was of the engineer she nearly flattened each dawn. What if she stopped? What if the watch let her finally say hello without risking embarrassment? After all, embarrassment could be rewound. At 4:45 the next morning, Rin idled beneath the sky rail's concrete ribs, listening for the whine of incoming train magnets. The street, slick with violet reflections, was empty. She thumbed the watch open, twisting the crown to arm its mechanism, heart thrumming with experimental delight. 4:49, she accelerated, toreador horns of the civic clock echoing. There he was, emerging from an alley, lost in thought. She braked early, boots skidding, yet inertia carried her forward. Her handlebar clipped his satchel, scattering tools. She killed the engine. "I'm sorry," she blurted, voice amplifying from her helmet's speaker. He looked up, surprised but unharmed. The shyness in his eyes was gentler than any dawn. Up close he smelled of ozone and metal filing. "No harm," he said, kneeling to collect micro-wrenches. His accent carried rural vowels, a softness unspoiled by city cadence. Rin knelt too, pushing her helmet back, rain beaded on her cropped silver hair. "I see you every morning," she admitted. "I guess I'm your alarm clock?" His lips curved, tentative. "I take this route to the maglev maintenance hub." "Kaito," he added, offering a hand smudged with graphite. "Rin." Their fingers touched. The watch in her pocket pulsed like a second heartbeat. Words fluttered behind her teeth. Invitation, coffee, another route, yet doubt pounced. Too abrupt, too intense. She swallowed, panicked, then thumbed the watch. Time folded, the tools jumped back into the satchel, her bike reversed, and Kaita vanished around the corner, none the wiser. Rin exhaled, shaking. The power intoxicated yet frustrated. She had erased the only genuine moment she'd shared in months. That day she avoided racing, instead shadowing Kaito from a distance, watching him badge into a service elevator bolted to the megastructure's ribs. He spent 12 hours inside, emerging with oil streaks across his cheek, humming to himself. On impulse, she rewound 5 minutes to slip a protein bar into his satchel, rewound again to witness his pleased confusion. She cycled this game twice more, voyeur and guardian angel. Days blurred in phosphorescent loops. Rin used the watch to perfect race lines, harvest winnings, and anonymously ease Kaito's commute umbrella deployed over his head during sudden rain. Hazard drones rerouted before they malfunctioned in his path. Each kindness she dissolved and relived in secrecy, storing only the memory. Still, she lacked courage to keep any timeline where she actually spoke beyond apologies. The fifth dawn after meeting him, the watch hands refused to wind, its gears locked at 4:55. Panic clenched Rin's gut. She flicked, tapped, cursed. Nothing. Whatever fueled the anomaly had depleted. She had one life-sized morning left, one version that would not reset. She revved toward the ski rail with a desperation that startled her. Kaito appeared, coffee in hand, humming. Rin braked inches away, engine idling like a beast held by reins. And helmet off, she dismounted. "I'm not going to hit you this time," she said. He raised an eyebrow. "Good improvement." She pulled the inert watch from her pocket, thumb tracing the chrysanthemum. "Ever wonder what you'd do if you could try a moment over until it was perfect?" He studied the trinket. "All the time. But I'd probably miss the imperfections." Rin laughed, nerves crackling. "Would you ride with me? I know a rooftop where the sunrise looks like molten cold." Kaito weighed her offer, then nodded. She handed him a spare helmet festooned with neon decals. He secured it, climbing behind her. His arms wrapped around her waist with cautious delicacy, but when she accelerated up the maintenance ramp, he held tighter, laughter whipping away in the slipstream. They threaded elevated lanes, leapt a gap onto a parking terrace, and ascended a spiraling tower until Tokyo unfurled below like a bioluminescent reef. Dawn breached, flooding clouds with rose gold static. For once, Rin wasn't chasing anything. She was held, present. They sat on the parapet, legs dangling. Kaito removed the helmet, hair tousled. "You were right," he murmured. "It's like watching code compile." Their shoulders brushed. Rin caught him studying the watch. "It's broken now," she confessed. "But it could rewind 5 minutes. I used it to avoid embarrassing myself with you." His eyebrows lifted. "How many times have we met?" "Hundreds, in a way. I kept undoing it." She expected disbelief, maybe anger. Instead, Kaito smiled, gentle and melancholy. "That explains the protein bars appearing in my bag like power-ups." He turned the watch over. "This belongs to you," Rin said. "No," he countered. "It found you." He said it between them. 5 minutes isn't long, but it's enough to hear a yes or a no, enough to say sorry, or I love you. Wind stirred his hair. Rin's heart pounded. "I'm done rewinding," she said. "I want whatever happens next to stick." Kaito met her gaze, steady. "Then let's find out." He leaned in, a question more than emotion. She answered by closing the gap, lips tasting of rain and adrenaline. Under them the city woke, monorail horns layering with temple chimes recorded centuries earlier. When they parted, Rin felt the moment anchor in reality. Unretractable, yet right. She slipped the watch back into her pocket. Dead metal, yet she swore she heard a faint tick. Kaito's hand found hers. "Breakfast?" he asked. "Only if you let me drive," she teased. "Deal." They descended to street level, sharing quiet laughter. At a noodle kiosk perfumed with broth, Kaito spoke of childhood in Niigata, building wind turbines from scrap, Rin recounted midnight races through typhoon gales. Conversation flowed, effortless as gears synced. Hours later, they parted. He to the maglev hub, she to her garage, promising to meet at dusk. Rin tucked the watch in a drawer, uncertain whether to display or bury it. She spent the afternoon tuning her own EZ9, feeling light. At 18 o'clock, she arrived at the rendezvous tower. Minutes passed, then an hour. No Kaito. Messages pinged unseen. Dread pooled. She checked news streams. Electrical fire disables Sky Rail maintenance wing. Casualties unknown. Panic lanced through her. The pocket watch couldn't help its miracle exhausted, but muscle memory compelled her to grab it anyway, before roaring toward the disaster zone. Smoke spiraled from the ribbed underbelly of the sky rail, emergency drones buzzing. She breached barricades, ignoring shouted warnings. Inside the maintenance bay, sparks fountained from severed conduits. Fire crews wrestled with foam hoses, her eyes ravaged the chaos. Until she spotted Kaito, slumped against a coolant tank, medics kneeling beside him. He was conscious but bleeding from a cut across his forehead. Rin sprinted, slipping on coolant. His gaze met hers, relief and pain mingled. "I'm okay," he rasped, "but the fail-safes. I tried to shut them." An alarm howled. Magnetic coil overload imminent, radius 20 meters. Medics dragged hoses. One shouted that the capacitor would discharge, frying neural implants of anyone nearby. Kaito's leg was pinned under a fallen support. Adrenaline cannonballed through Rin. She knelt, braced, and with hydraulic assist from her exoskeleton boots, heaved the beam enough for medics to pull him clear. They retreated as arcs of blue lightning danced across the bay. Outside, rain hammered. Kaito leaned against her, trembling. "If that coil blows, the entire line shuts down," he gasped. "I can stop it, but I need to reach the control relay panel. 5 minutes from now it's locked." 5 minutes. Rin's hand closed around the watch. It felt warm, impossible. Desperation ignited belief. She met Kaito's eyes. "If I can buy you 5 minutes, will you trust me?" He nodded without hesitation. Rin flipped the cover. The chrysanthemum glimmered. She wound the crown. The tick resumed, thunderous in her ears. She kissed Kaito fiercely, then sprinted back into the inferno, ducking falling conduit. At 0:04 on the emergency clock, she located the manual release, memorizing its interface. Plasma licked her sleeve. Alarms crescendoed. At 0:00, she pressed the watch's stem. The world inverted. Smoke sucked backward, sparks reassembled, her feet retraced. 5 minutes, restored. Heart roaring, she grabbed Kaito's satchel and thrust it into his hands. "Tools, codes, everything you need," she urged. "I've seen the sequence." Together they limped inside. Within 2 minutes, they reached the relay panel. Kaito's fingers flew, entering overrides, while Rin braced the door against concussive pressure. She narrated steps she'd memorized. Red conduit, then ground lead interlock, then isolate coil 3. At 0:30, the overload bar dipped, alarms downgrading. The capacitors vented safely, lights stabilizing. A cheer rose from personnel. Exhausted, Rin slid to the floor, laughter breaking from her throat. Kaito joined her, smudged and alive. 5 minutes, he whispered. "You gave them to me." She opened the watch, the hand slowed, then stilled permanently at 6:00, sunrise hour. Weeks later, the watch sat in a glass case above Rin's repurposed garage. Now a community repair shop she and Kaito ran together. They fixed mag scooters for delivery kids and tuned exosuits for elderly dancers. Sometimes, at dawn, they rode out beneath the skyrail, not to race or rewind, but to witness time precisely once, perfectly flawed. On those mornings, Rin thought about how she had spent so long erasing possibilities, afraid of imperfection. She would squeeze Kaito's hand, feel the pulse that proved chronology still marched forward, and smile at the graffiti someone had scrawled on the pillar where they first collided. "Love is the only loop worth living."